How do you pay a debt when someone you owe 36 million? You don't. It might as well be a gajillion. Oh, this is what you do. You charge the one you owe with murder. The debt goes to. Now first, you gotta have a body. I don't know how you get it, but I know it is nutty. Find that car that body drove. Park the car in the yard, throw the body in the stove. Now this part, overemphasize I can. You got to have law enforcement that likes to plan. Oh, I mean not botany, talking bone, gun, bullets, a car and a key. How do you pay a bill for someone you owe 36 million? You don't. It might as well be a gajillion. Oh, this is what you do. You charge the one you owe with murder. The debt goes to.
Hello, everybody.
Now you cook that body up, all well done. Just leave some pieces out for identification. Like the tibia.
I do kind of like that Scooby-Doo reference. Meddling kids, perfect.
Me, but this brings me to the important part of the scheme.
Smash the like buttons.
Pick one out, the dullest knife. Get her to deviate from protocol first time in her life. How do you pay a bill for someone you owe 36 million? You don't. It might as well be a gajillion. Oh, this is what you do. You charge the one you owe with murder. The debt goes to.
Drum roll.
Now I can't go into detail. It would take too long.
No, this would end up being a 10-part docu song.
So I'll just give it to you.
Stacey's got a sense of humor.
You first have to get a kid to confess to the story of freedom. Block all the officers from following evidence where it leads them. Tell the media things that don't make sense. Don't worry, they don't ask questions. They just nod their heads. You gotta lock the corner from the scene. You got to beware now, dogs that are mean. Lose all the cameras, don't take a shot. Multi-label everything you got. You gotta keep all the evidence locked up safe. If anything gets broken, fix it with scotch tape and repeat. The bolts are intertwined, the wires from the top.
I have opened the Dr. Pepper, you're right.
How do you pay a bill for someone you owe 36 million?
You don't. It might as well be a gajillion.
Oh, this is what you do. You charge the one you owe with murder. The debt goes to. Now say you get away with all this stuff, but 10 years later you just don't have enough. Go write a book, try to cash in, don't worry about the ethics. There's none in Wisconsin, cause if there are, you would have been jailed and sued from all the domestic violence victims that you abuse. How do you pay a bill for someone you owe 36 million? You don't. It might as well be a gazillion. Oh, this is what you did. You framed an innocent man and his nephew kid.
Oh, the soulful sounds of Mr. Stacy Seabrook. Hello, everybody. How are you? Captain, you're funny, Captain Crunch. See, where do you find the time? I'm guessing I haven't had time to watch 80% of your. Hey, you know what, Thomas? I just had a little hitch in my giddy up here this week, dude. I was out of town. I was in Salt Lake City from Sunday night. No, I lost all day Sunday because I was traveling. So I basically lost all day Sunday. I re-uploaded the amicus briefs for Brendan for one for each day while I was in Salt Lake City, dude. I had a little bit of a hitch in my giddy up, dude. You're just, I don't know, man. I'm driven, you're not, and I don't know. Anyways, I honestly, if you knew what was going on, you'd know I had a little hitch in my giddy up. But anyway, that's besides the point. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, everybody. So before I go adding anybody to the Hangout or anything like that, I want to go ahead and talk about what happened today. And it's something I've been working on for a while, was planning to get it to happen, was talking to the person that I ended up getting that made this happen. So this person that is going to be on the show here did a blog right after the first season of Making a Murderer came out. And it was a 10-part, and it was very, very good. It was a very good analysis, a very, very good analysis of the case, very thorough from what was available at that time, this was all within the first 8 to 10 months after the first season came out, which a lot of the documents had kind of come out and stuff by that point. So he'd seen quite a bit of the stuff, and he made just a blog that was just very objective. It wasn't really always of the opinion that favored Stephen. He looked at, all the evidence individually, and he certainly had issues with some of it. And because he has issues with it, he honestly he can't make a decision in this case. And I think that's a huge point when it comes to this case, is that the investigation was so poor that seasoned investigators like this guy that I'm going to have tomorrow, who's going to be in the premiere tomorrow, they can't even tell what the heck's going on. They can't make heads or tails of it. And that was a big part of the interview. And so you're all wondering who it was, right? Is everybody wondering who it was? Sonny Jose, let's see what we can do here. Better? So did the video get better? So, who I'm going to be talking to is a retired FBI agent. His name is Steve Moore, and he's a analyst or panelist on CNN often when they're talking about something that that involves investigations or law enforcement. He's like their kind of go-to panelist on that sort of stuff on CNN, and many other news networks call him to get his opinion. He's so well respected that his opinion about Amanda Knox ended up carrying so much weight that he ended up being able to fly over to Italy. And he's so well respected in what he does that he had, I'm not saying he got her out, but his opinion got a lot of people thinking, and a lot of people care about his opinion. His opinion means a great deal to a lot of people because of his experience as an FBI, an investigator at the FBI, being such a, ethical investigator and such a straight shooter and an objective investigator and everything. So these are the reasons why this guy gets the juice. And I've just always respected him. He finally got to be able to talk to me today. It's phenomenal news. He is, when it comes to investigations, he's right on the level with Greg McCrary. And if those of you who don't know who Greg McCrary is, he's Zellner's expert on investigations. Guess what he is? He's also retired FBI, just like Steve Moore. In fact, you know, I wouldn't be the least bit surprised to find out that Zellner actually may have put out a request to Steve back when she was looking for an expert for investigations. That wouldn't surprise me at all if she had reached out to him, possibly. So, anyways, I'll even ask him about Greg McCrary in the interview that you guys are going to see tomorrow and everything. So it's going to be very interesting. It's about 30 minutes long where we start out talking about Greg McCrary and the issues that he had, and so we ended up talking a little bit about victimology, and then how what the pitfalls are of going too quickly from an evidence-based investigation to a suspect-based investigation. And I actually asked those questions in that order, and he went right for the second one. I thought that was really interesting. Actually, he went right for the second one before he came back to the victimology, because when I said that, he immediately had something to say, and it was a very interesting analogy that he makes. And I'm not gonna say any more, because that's going to be one of the things you guys are going to want to tune in tomorrow to see. So it was very interesting interview, guys. I think you're all going to love it. This guy is integrity. This guy is, the investigator that this case needed. And he also speaks quite frankly, quite candidly about what it's like there in the area in Wisconsin. Their criminal justice system, what the judges there allow prosecutors and law enforcement to get away with. And he kind of considers it, well, here, I'll tell you the way he put it. He referred to it as the kids are running the show. That's the way he chose to refer to it. Very interesting. I think you're all going to love it. So let me look at the chat now and see what you guys are talking about. It will be at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time tomorrow. As soon as I'm done with this Hangout, I'm going to upload it and set it for premiere at 1 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. So that'll be like 2 o'clock in Wisconsin and 3 o'clock on the East Coast, basically. What time will I be going live tomorrow? Well, I don't know that I am going live tomorrow just yet, but I probably may. And there may be a good chance that that'll happen. What I'm going to be doing is uploading a premiere, which is going to be my discussion or my interview with Steve Moore. And let me tell you something. I did it this way this time, where it was me and him personally, where I just recorded a call between him and I. I chose to do it that way because this is my first time speaking to him. And I really wanted it to be a situation that was comfortable. And because I know this guy is tremendously busy. I mean, with all the things that he does a lot of pro bono investigation stuff because he cares and he wants to set things right when he sees something not right. And he's that type of guy. This is what I love about him, by the way. It's just, this guy is so cool. He's so cool. And he's like the full on FBI investigator, top rank. But he works pro bono and investigates pro bono to help out, like he did in the Amanda Knox case. And he really didn't do anything like seriously ground moving for her. He just ended up going on Good Morning America one morning and saying, oh yeah, I think Amanda Knox is innocent. I think it's impossible that she could have actually convicted or could have perpetrated this crime. And he had reasoning for why he believed it was impossible. So, and just him having that opinion, that's it. Just him having that opinion started swaying people's minds. And Amanda Knox ended up being released on appeal. So he has some influence. He knows what he's doing, and people respect him because he has spent a lifetime building a career and a reputation that is, just stellar. And I gotta say, it was a pleasure to speak to him. He's a very nice guy, very easy to talk to. He was just, I mean, down to earth. He's just a a great guy. It was so amazing to speak to him. Yeah, he called it the kids running the show. Those of you that are talking about same in the Minnesota courts and stuff. He said like there in Wisconsin in that area, like Manitowoc and that particular area, Wisconsin, he said, yeah, he goes, when I look at their reasoning that they give for why to explain this stuff, he says it strikes me like children trying to explain things that they did wrong. I mean, that's the terms he used, or close roundabouts to the terms he was using, but he did refer to them as the kids running the show. That is a direct quote. We need someone with deep pockets of connections. You must have a good reputation out there to get him. I think I must be doing something right. I think I must have something about me that maybe it's because I'm balanced, even though I clearly have an opinion and I clearly feel that Stephen Avery is most likely innocent, and when I say that, I mean that's a large percentage toward believing that I think he was framed. I do have a small window that allows me to doubt, but truly I believe that he was framed. But maybe it's because I have that slight amount of objectivity that's what maybe makes somebody like Steve Moore want to be able to come on my channel and talk to me. I got to tell you this, when I very first started, because I'm friends with his wife, and she's way into making a murderer. Guys, she's totally into it, like all the rest of us. She lost touch because she's starting some new projects of her own and doing her own thing right now. And she has a few little projects going that are kind of cool, that deal with true crime kind of stuff. But so I've always had this relationship kind of with her, talking to her back and forth every once in a while. And back when I very first started, I had made a video where I was going through the Brendan Dassey interview, and it was about the part where Tom Fassbender and Wiegert are trying to sit there and tell Brendan to say things about like what Stephen was acting like up in Crivets and everything when the salvage yard had been taken over by law enforcement and everything like it was for 8 days. And so they were trying to they were pushing Brendan to try to say that Steve was acting strange, or Steve was acting odd or peculiar or whatever. And the funny thing to me about it, when I made a video and everything about it, and in the video I said, look, I go, it's you can't sit there and try and say, Tom Fassbender and Mark Wiegert, that it's paranoia that you're observing in Crivets when he's been wrongly convicted before. Because he's been wrongly convicted before, it ceases to be paranoia if he is acting a little bit, worried up in Crivets. Because it's, like I said, it ceases to be paranoia when it's happened before. So fearing that cops may, not do their job properly because it's happened before is not exactly paranoia. That's like what you would deem real fear, genuine fear. And when I said that in the video, I had sent it over to his wife, and so her and they were watching it together, and I guess on her phone or something. And when I got to that point where I said it ceases to be paranoia when it's happened before, she ended up telling me later that he actually kind of started busting out laughing a little bit when I said that. So I've always known that he liked me and stuff, but when I recently did ask if he would come on the show, instead of getting the, well, maybe not, I don't know, we're really busy, I was getting the, we're really busy, but it's an absolute yes. And I was like, okay, there we go. So whatever the case may be, it was a pleasure to have him. He's a real down-to-earth guy, and it was great. That's also true. Just because you're paranoid doesn't mean they're not after you. What keeps you from being 100%? I don't know. I just don't like to be absolutely certain when it comes to Steven, because there's just a lot of There's a lot of things. There's just a lot of complications. It's why the investigation being so poor is such a bad thing. It's the it's and I can't make it any clearer, because when you have somebody of the caliber of Steve Moore, who looks, I mean, he looked through the queso documents and stuff that were coming out in the document drops back right after Making a Murderer came out in 2015, right? The end of 2015, the beginning of 2016. So all throughout the beginning of 2016, for the first 8 to 10 months, there was these periodic document drops where we were getting more and more pages of queso, more and more pages of MTSO, which there are 36 pages of actually at the StephenAveryCase.org, or is it 42? I don't know. Anyways, that's actually Manitowoc County Sheriff's Department's reports that managed to get released, and they were able to buy those. And so anyways, when all these documents, so he was around when all that was happening. So he has that initial information. What he doesn't have is all of the ways that Zellner has now taken that information and everything that she's tying together and in the way she's doing it. And that's what he doesn't know just yet. He hasn't been able to go and research into that because, like I said, he had to leave his own blog without really finishing his 10th chapter of it, covering the 10th episode, because he got pulled away going over to being called over to CNN and NBC. He's been on Dateline. He's been on, these shows that you all know, because if you're true crime, if you have the interest in true crime, obviously that most of us have, you know that, those are really popular shows. Those are big time shows. And for them to be bringing him on would also suggest that they respect his opinion and his point of view. He actually puts it very funny when I say that he carries a lot of weight. He says, "Well, the badge and the experience do." He very much takes himself with a sense of humor. It's great. I think you guys will really like it. He has a really endearing charm about him. He's a great guy. Okay, let me get back to the chat here. That's awesome, Irakoze. Thank you, Stacy. You deserve it as well, buddy. I hope we get your tweet shared, my friend. Stacy. I hope we get a bunch of people sharing that tweet and retweeting that tweet and passing right now the 2 songs on iTunes and get those things going and get as many people downloading those. And I'd love to see you get big, dude. And I'm not kidding when I responded to your tweet by saying I hope you keep a little bit of that money for yourself before you ship it off to Zellner and the wrongful convictions of youth over at Northwestern University. Pull off a little bit for yourself, buddy, and make yourself a little studio so that whenever you get the inspiration to compose, you'll just be able to walk into the next room instead of having to try to schedule something with somebody across town. So if we get to that point where it gets that popular, where there's real serious money being made, just cut a little bit out for yourself first, and so that we can keep the whole musical train rolling on this, because you're creating a real great background feel effect for this for a lot of us, and it's to be admired, it's to be applauded. You're getting retweeted by Zellner and Drizzen and Nyrider, constantly. So good for you. You're doing a great job yourself, my friend. And I know you feel the same way about me, but I just can't say enough. You're killing it right now, dude. You're totally just knocking it out of the park. So anyways. Season 2, the only thing is question, speaking of guilty, Julio Gomez, investigation and prosecution is more important to the legal system than determining guilt or innocence. Keep the window open to Jose, but retrials. Yeah, see, I totally believe we don't have the story. I totally believe that the investigation is so poor, we cannot tell what happened. And that's why the trial's a farce. And that's why we want a new one so that we can determine what's what. But my gut tells me Stephen Avery was framed because of what I see. That's what my gut feeling tells me. I don't know how to explain this. Folks, I don't hardly ever go 100% full bore in favor of somebody the way I do with Brendan. That's a rare occurrence for me, kind of the way I did right away. That doesn't usually happen with me, but that's how strongly it is with Brendan for me. I mean, I don't know. So I don't usually go that strongly 100%. I'm usually more of a thinking brooder. That's me. That's me. That's just the way I am. But the fact of the matter is, my gut tells me that Stephen Avery was framed. This evidence looks planted. I cannot help, no matter what I would want to think normally, or no matter what I would want to do. The fact of the matter is, I look at this stupid evidence, and this stupid evidence looks planted and doctored or messed with. And, I don't know. That's just what it comes down to. Like I said, it's for me, the probabilities are highly in Stephen's favor of his innocence. That's the way I feel about it. But I just leave that door open just a little. Thank you, Allie. I'm glad you understand. I'm glad a few other people do. I know it's hard for some of you that are really, really gung-ho, and you believe, and I do. I appreciate that, and I think you're right too. As I've told you, my gut tells me that that's the way to believe. My gut is telling me 100% that this isn't right. And the reason why is my gut's looking at this evidence going, is there anything among it that's even remotely convincing? No, not really. And that's why Brendan ended up getting coerced, because that's the reality of it. When you look at all this, they knew that a jury might really look at this stuff critically and think, what's going on with this stuff really? Why weren't they taking pictures here? Why do we have no pictures of these bones? And why is, the jury could have done those things possibly, and they didn't want really that to happen. So they didn't, they hoped that it wouldn't get looked at critically. But now with MAM, with Worldwide Spotlight, everything's getting looked at very critically. And the fact of the matter is, yes, my gut tells me that Stephen was framed because of the way the evidence looks. When you look at it more than glancingly, you can see way too many issues with it. Let's see what we got here. I agree with you about what KZ said. Appreciate and welcome and come in with arms wide open. Everybody's trying not to use the term truthers, Julio. Just saw something today that Zellner found Teresa's blood in Bobby's garage next door to Stevens. Is that a rumor? I need to find out more about that. Jamie Hart, I am not sure. A few missteps is typical human error, but everything together, yeah, it's like everything together. And Travis was saying the same thing in Laura's last night, in Laura's, hangout. He was basically saying, that he's, in most cases he would say, oh, there's a handful, maybe 3, 6, 7, 8, I don't know, something like a handful of errors and mistakes. Okay, whatever, you overlook it. But when he got to talking about the Avery case and how it's just, he said his last actual count was something like he'd found 80 things that were just really strangely odd and miss calculations or misspeak in documents and in reports and various things, 80 things that he considered serious. And he said that accumulation is not good. That accumulation is really not very good at all. It's in fact shows that they're not very conscientious about their job. And yeah, so it's just, the issues are there. And the reason why the Manitowoc can try to blame making a murderer, and it can try to blame Laura Ricciardi and Moira Demos for its woes. But the fact of the matter is that in the end, it comes right back around on them. It's their own damn fault. Them and Calumet and the state of Wisconsin ran this crappy investigation after Peg Lautenschlager had basically whitewashed what the state did to Avery the first time. And she was at the Wisconsin DOJ, the leader of, basically the chief of police of the most the ranking, basically, law enforcement agency in Wisconsin, which is the DOJ, and she was the leader of it, and she whitewashed the original wrongful conviction of Stephen Avery. And then you have another investigation that's a complete shite show, as we say. You asked for it. They asked for it. They asked for all this question. They can blame whoever they want. They can continue to blame making a murderer in the filmmakers, but it's their own fault, and they are not willing to take responsibility for that. That is absolutely certain. Oh, by the way, I want to talk about something else real quick. You guys notice the tie? I don't know if there'll be a season 3. There probably will be a season 3, but it's probably not going to be like really quick. It's probably going to be about 2 or 3 years. So this tie is another symbol of international support. So if you guys can tell, it's the Pink Panther right there. It's the Pink Panther basically dancing on piano keys. So this is another symbol of international support sent to me by the Mad Scotsman, Mr. Paul Capaldi, over there in Scotland. So, so this is the new tie, symbol of international support. So I wanted to let everybody know about that. Thank you, Paul Capaldi. Uncle Sam. Yeah, it's cool. It's the Pink Panther with he's dancing. He's doing a little, on the piano keys. Yeah. Pretty cool. Pretty nice little tie. I wish my camera didn't suck, but it does. So what are you going to do? Kind of does, actually. Yeah. Looked like a little bit like Abbey Road. Is when Travis' laptop died. Sorry, but he's long-winded. He is a little bit, but he brings that aspect of he brings that aspect of the legal, his opinions are based on the fact that he's a lawyer, a defense lawyer. And so he looks at things the way a defense lawyer has to look at things. And so I think that's what makes Travis's opinion really valuable, really, in my opinion. Investigators and prosecution have gone silent since the release of MAM2. The brain test on SA was compelling, but I question the accuracy of it. I know a lot of people do. I actually believe that the brain fingerprinting is probably pretty sound. I feel like I understand what they're saying and what they're trying to measure, and that they have consistently proven that when this particular frequency inside of the brain boots up, as they refer to it, just like in a hard drive, that a person is actually searching their own memory. And when they're able to determine that somebody is searching their own memory at what by what is being shown to them and what the test is prompting to them, that is how they're able to figure it out. So to me, it makes sense. It seems like it could very well be sound. I think it may need a little more time to get tested and fleshed out, but I actually think, the way that what they call it, the P300 murmur that they're able to measure, it's just that one particular frequency in the brain that they know. It's like your own brain's little processor booting up to search memory. He needs to learn to share, Sean. I agree, Sean. But I think he goes quiet too, and he lets people talk. I mean, Travis is a pretty good guy. All right, so Amber, do you want to go? Let's see. So does anybody want to come in the hangout? I guess. Stacy, do you? Oh, Stacy, Can you come in the hangout with me? Stacy Seabrook. Is he gone already? Okay. Good show as always. Thank you, Joseph Smovic. Hey, Jason. Yes, Travis is awesome. Dang it, Stacy. Hold on a second. I'm gonna try and get. Ali, you need to send me your email address. I have to add you with your email address, if I believe. I need there you go. I need your Ali, I need your email address. Sorry, folks. I'm trying to get Stacy in the hangout here. Try to explain while I'm trying to do this so that it's not just dead silence. All right, got you, Ali. Hold on. Okay, Allie, sent the invite. All right, Allie will be joining me here shortly. Hopefully, I'll hopefully get Stacy back here in a minute. Oh, bummer. Hold on, I'm just talking to Stacy, folks, trying to get him in here. He's saying he's in an area with spotty reception, so I'm gonna get him to try. Let's see if I can get him in here for a second. You can't get email for two more days. I'm not sending you an email. It's just your Hangouts account, right? How did Laura add you? How did Laura add you, Allie? I sent you an invite though. If you open your phone and Hangouts, you should have an invite from me. Yeah. Hold on. Let me answer Stacy. It's going right now, dude. Hold on, I'm just letting Stacy know. I hope he can join. He's got to download the app and then he's got to give me his email. You should see your cozies hang out in your mail client. Let's see here. Should see. Well, I don't know. There, that's a link. That's a link to the Hangout. Maybe that'll help. I've already cleared you. It says I've invited you, Allie. But maybe if you click that link, possibly. There you go. There she is. All right. I guess I needed to post that link. There we go. Figured that one out. I don't hear you yet. Are you there?
Whoops. Had my mic muted.
Oh, there we go. Okay. You there? I'm muted. Okay.
Whoops. Had my mic muted.
Oh, there we go. Okay. I'm muted. Okay.
Had my mic muted.
Oh, there we go. Okay. I'm muted. Okay. Somebody's got to mute their YouTube. I'm muted. Okay. Somebody's got to mute their YouTube. That echo is because somebody has YouTube on another tab open besides Hangouts, but the YouTube tab still has the audio on for somebody. I think okay. There looks like that's it. It went away. Okay.
Hey, Lucy.
Hello, Lucy. She having a problem with her microphone as well.
Hi, Allie. Hi, Eric
She having a
Koji.
problem with her microphone. Hi, Lucy. Happened to there it is. Okay, so hopefully we're gonna get Stacy Seabrook in here. He's gonna, I think, try to download the app to his phone. So hopefully we'll see him in a minute. So yeah. Anyways, so pretty exciting to be able to talk to Steve Moore today. Obviously, to be able to show off the new tie that Mr. Capaldi sent me from Scotland. So, Pink Panther. I thought it was funny. So, anyways, what does everybody want to talk about now? This is taking so long. It does take a while. That's kind of common for wrongful convictions, unfortunately. Questions were based on forensic evidence discovered by Zellner's experts. The questions. Which ones? How many people do you want, Eric Jose? Oh, I don't know. You know, we just start out with a couple and see where the conversation goes, I guess. Hi, Joseph. Did Lucy drop out? Is she having technical difficulties?
Yeah, looks like it.
See, the brother of him and Trish. Oh, now Joseph dropped out. So that was fun last night, right, Allie?
That was so fun.
That was 4 hours of MAM nonstop. MAM
5 hours, like on the second one, and then I think there was like an hour and a half before that with just Laura, and then several of us were like, "We're not done," so we got on another chat for several hours.
Right, I know you guys make my phone beep all the time though.
Yeah, mine was too. I had to turn off the sound.
Yeah. So yeah, the Cozy, you're talking about Cozy Heads chat, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it because normally I get nothing. I get no notifications. Nobody's ever talking to me, so it's nice and everybody's so cool.
Yeah. Hey, we love the community here. It's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And strength in numbers. Oh.
I'm Marcia. Somebody has to say it.
It's called. Is Adrian trying to get in? Somebody share the link with her. That's if she clicks on the link, she might get in.
Hey, Falcon.
Oh, did Falcon pop in for a second there?
No, he's in chat.
Oh, just in chat.
Yeah.
Oh, Sean Gerhardtson thinks you're adorable.
Oh, Denise. She wants me to pick up where we left off last night. I was just getting started. You're right. I have so much to say about that day planner. I need Falcon back, though.
Yeah. Why do you need Falcon? Just because you want his other side of point of view?
Mm-hmm.
What's up, Falcon? How's it going, buddy?
Thank you, Sean.
Here, I'll post it again. There's the link again.
Really?
I was posting. Well, it had gone
NPR?
up pretty far by now. There's something suspicious about the three men closest to TH. Yeah, I would agree. There's a little bit of weirdness there.
Thank you, Karen.
Sounds like she should. Allie sounds like she should do NPR radio.
I don't listen to that. So is that?
I think it's because NPR is
a...
generally like mellow and you know, kind of, you know, not like really very maybe boisterous or anything. I guess I think that's what he's trying to suggest anyway.
Or that I have a face for radio.
A face for radio. Ouch. I don't know if he was saying that. I can neither confirm nor deny. Let's see. Ken Kratz gets his, yeah, that's okay. KK should focus on getting his brain fixed, possibly. Or where did Teresa get the head 10 times? Oh, it's hard to read some of these questions. I'm thinking of delicious dish. Falcon says, I'm thinking of the delicious dish skit from SNL. I don't know what that refers to. She sounds like Molly Shannon on SNL during the Sweaty Meats skit. Sweaty Meats? Okay. Let's see. Oh, you have a face for kissing. Don't listen to that nonsense.
What?
Somebody said that.
I haven't been kissed in a long time, so I don't think that's true.
Falcon said, no, I mean your voice has the velvet smoothness. Falcon saying your voice has the velvet smoothness for NPR.
That's nice. That's probably the nicest voice comment I've gotten. I've heard other things that are less PG.
Yeah. I think it was 6 times she got hit in it. Are you going to join us, Adrian?
I think Amber wants to join.
Yeah, Amber, go ahead. Pop in. I might need to do it. Where do I have her? I remember she had to give it to me. Well, have you tried to jump in, Amber? If you can, I'll add you if I have to find your email again, though. Where was that? Actually, send it to me again, please, Amber. If you can't get in, if you can't just click the link, send me your email again. But other people got in here just by clicking the link, so I should think that you would be able to, Amber.
Sweaty balls.
Yeah, they keep talking about that.
I'm sure I've seen it. I just don't remember it for some reason.
Yeah, I think I do too. Remember it vaguely. Yes, she needs you to. Wait, I was wrong. I don't even see Amber anymore. I think she must have stepped away.
She's over in the Cozy Head chat. She's over in the Cozy Head chat. Hi, Lucy.
Hey, guys. Can you hear me?
Yes.
She's over in the Cozy Head chat. Hi, Lucy.
Well, you got to mute your YouTube window.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, I need the email. Here, hold on, folks.
Sean wants to talk about the new revelations from the battery, from the Reddit post.
Oh, yeah, I haven't had a chance to read it yet, Sean. I mean, I was at work, and then I was getting ready to interview Steve Moore, and then I was editing Steve Moore, and then literally didn't even have time to go do anything like eat or go to the bathroom, and was going live because editing took so long that, and you guys were already waiting for like a half hour or 40 minutes. And I was like, oh, jeez. So, I mean, literally I've just had zero time to actually look at that Reddit post yet.
I read it. It was it was confusing because he can't say the name, and it sounds like he's talking about Colburn, but then, he says there's a second person. And I believe he said that it's a name that we don't know, that we wouldn't know, but that it's been traced for sure.
Yeah, they were saying something about it. It traces back to a white Jeep.
Yeah.
That it was in a white Jeep, which we've heard about the white Jeep that went with a RAV4 up that road by, what's his name, Siebert or
Wilmer Siebert.
Yeah, him. So that there was the supposed white Jeep in the RAV that went down that road, and then only the white Jeep came back. And so I don't know. There's interesting little things like that. And then to hear it came from a white Jeep. So
I heard a long time ago that Colburn has a Jeep, white.
Somebody
maybe
said,
not a Jeep exactly, but some sort of white SUV type vehicle.
Yes, one of my subscribers sent me an email that a link took me to a picture of a white Jeep that's supposedly sitting in Colburn's driveway.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think you're right.
So yeah.
Let's see here, hold on, I gotta check on Amber here. She give me her email address yet? Okay, yeah, here it is. Where's the mouse?
Yeah, they said we should get Hens on with us. He's here. I wish you were here last night, Thomas.
All right, Amber. Amber, you should be invited now. And Adrian, okay. Hold on.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Make sure you mute your YouTube window.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. How likely is it that Teresa left Avery salvage yard, returned home, left her planner there before she was murdered?
Not very likely, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's Elmer says.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, it's okay. Go ahead.
Has anyone seen the Brad Dassey interview?
The radio?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, Adrian, you're invited. Oh, crud.
D, I don't think it's very likely that she did go home. I know Zellner said now that she was close to home, but not close enough to go home and then make it out to her first appointment. So I don't think that there was time for her to have done that after she got the last call, whatever that was. So
And it wouldn't have made sense for her to go back home on the
Right.
surface.
Yeah, very true. And even if she did, I still can't think of any reason why she would leave the planner at home. You know, that doesn't make sense at all. Yeah, they're saying Colburn has an Isuzu, a white Isuzu.
Yeah. Well,
That sounds right.
that's what it looked like what I saw in the picture. So I remember because I did see a picture that was I wasn't exactly sure if I could say that this was actually in front of Colburn's house. Probably needed to do a little more digging to determine that. But yeah, I did see that picture though.
Yeah, I saw that too.
So anyways, I don't know what's going on. Adrian did leave her email, but I don't see her popping in. See if Hence is still here. See if we can get him in here. I don't see Hence. It looks like he might. Hey, Thomas Hence, are you still out there, buddy?
I keep getting calls from Adrian, but I can't answer them.
She needs to go back into Co's. Well, she needs to. I don't know where she needs to go, but see, I don't know why she's not. I guess now we need to give her the. Wait, Allie needed both things. I had to invite her and I had to give her the link.
No, I think it works either way. I think you can either, like, if you're not in somebody's circles, then you can join the video call, but you have to click on this disclosure thing. Or if you're in someone's circles, then you can join it. I don't know.
I don't know. I'm going to tell Adrian to check her email.
She said send it again.
Send the link. I can send it in the YouTube chat. Oh, wait. I could probably open up. Here, I'll put it here. And then I can put it here.
Millbilly.
Not that chat.
Where did you see that? They got Teresa's subkey on November 3rd. Never heard of that. The crime lab did make a key sometime before the morning of the 6th. I know that.
Do we know if the sink was luminol?
I don't think it was.
Yeah, T1, I think that the sink was luminol.
I don't know that for sure though. I'm guessing.
Hi, Joseph.
Hi guys.
Cute little girl. She's so cute.
Come here. They want to say hi, Lily.
So happy.
There's Adrian. Hello, Adrian.
Say hi.
Hey.
Okay.
Hey, you made it.
Yes, I did. Yeah, I don't know why my phone was saying like cancel here. And I was like, what? Why is it saying cancel? So my confusion, sorry.
All righty. Well, it's great to have you. It's great to have everybody here. Hopefully we can get Hence.
Thomas here.
Said what?
We need Thomas here.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get him. I don't know if he's still around because let me see if Falcon's there. Do you want to join, Falcon? I know you might be a little bit talked out after the last couple, possibly. Dan O'Donnell is the man who's hated by truthers.
There's so
either I don't know if hated or criticized. I mean, you know, tomato, I guess.
Was the question about the spare key
Yeah.
The one that was in the photograph on the sink.
Well, I think that's what's been surmised, or that's what's been suggested, that's how that spare key that's all by itself gets found. Because where is her house key? Where is her studio key? Where are, possibly 2 to 3 other keys that she probably should have had?
There was when they did the interview at Teresa's apartment with Scott Blodorn. In the background is what appears to be the key on the lanyard on the
or on the counter or something like that. Yeah.
That was that on the 4th though? I don't think it was on the 3rd.
It was November 4th.
Okay, that's what I thought. So I'm not sure what Millbilly is talking about, that they got a sub key on the 3rd. That doesn't even make sense.
I do remember hearing that they had a key made.
Yeah, they
did.
They had to have a key made because they didn't have, supposedly they did not have the key at the time. So yeah, they had a key made. Right.
So it's, I don't know. There's a lot of everything about the key is just fishy, just like I said about everything else in this case. It's, it accumulates. And that was a point Travis was making last night on Laura's video, is that the thing is the accumulation of evidence in this case, or the accumulation of things in this case that look really just odd or misrepresented in the reports, or mislogged, and just, to where it gets to the point where there's so many of them that it does stand out. It is something that it seems beyond normal. And that's his point of view as a lawyer, a defense lawyer, who has to deal with arguing his cases in a courtroom for a living. And so he knows, I would imagine his idea of what goes and what doesn't go in a courtroom is probably fairly accurate.
Yeah, it's a mess. This case is a mess. They didn't do what they needed to do, frankly.
Yeah, that's what I feel. I mean, even though Steve Moore isn't really ready right now, it's just he's still not kind of at that point where he's ready to say, either way about Stephen Avery. The fact that he is not able to make a decision at all says something. The fact that he is unable to do that says something about this really, really ridiculous investigation. And, I just think that fact in and of itself, even though I know some people would wish that he was saying, oh yeah, Stephen Avery is absolutely innocent and here's why. I know that people would wish that he's saying that, but he's not. And the fact that he's not is one of the things that gives him credibility. It's one of the reasons why his opinion is respected around the world, and why he was able to fly over to Italy and be able to have some influence on what happened with Amanda Knox. And like he tells me in the interview that I had with him today, he does a lot of pro bono investigation work, just to help out, just not, not charging any money to do it, just to be able to do it pro bono and help somebody out. So he's a pretty good guy. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I think for all of you to see the interview.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, yeah.
So
just to see that perspective of what the investigators got wrong, because for me, I'm like, this is a lot for me, but
it is a lot. Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that's just, I don't know.
Well, it's like Travis says, it's okay if you see usually maybe 3 or 5 or 6, 7, maybe, but when it gets to the point, once it gets past the point of 20, 30, 40, 50, then it's something's wrong. Something's not kosher.
And I think the other problem was that they put too many investigators in here. It was just too many cops in here that make it I don't know, just a mess.
Stacy's in chat.
Stacy's in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, in the YouTube chat. I know it's probably saying that I think Stacy's 100% in it. Never have doubted that for 1 minute. Oh, right on. I think Stacy's getting mad at me for not being 100% about Stephen Avery. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just just who I am. I don't know what else to say. I have a tiny window that allows me to doubt, but like I say, it's a tiny window.
I mean, bottom line is you wouldn't have said guilty, right? I mean,
thank you, Stacy. Sorry, go ahead.
bottom line is you wouldn't have said guilty.
Yeah. I just exactly. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying the probabilities are I think he's guilty. I'm saying the probabilities are I think he was framed.
I just say, like, even though I may think maybe he may have done it, who knows? Maybe.
Right. But where's the proof of it? It's like, yeah.
I couldn't have said he was guilty and put him in life in prison because there was just too much doubt for me.
Right. Your reasonable doubt wasn't removed, basically.
Right.
So, yeah. Let me see.
I think for me, the fact that his blood is in the car, just like with the other side, it's still an issue. I think it can be explained by being planted, but also there is the small possibility that he did leave it there. But with Brendan, there is nothing like that. So I think that gives you more room to say, I think Brendan's definitely not involved. There's nothing to suggest that he was.
Yeah.
But even that's, like you said, really small chance that maybe Stephen was. Maybe.
I don't
think so.
I also feel like it makes people who don't, people who are inclined to just believe that they're guilty. I also believe that holding that belief that allows them to see that I can consider that that point of view, I think possibly helps me get a little more traction with them. That where they don't just they don't just casually dismiss me. They may dismiss me still, but maybe they don't do it casually. So that's definitely something that I think about when I think it's important to be objective, and I praise Steve more about that quite a bit when I'm talking to him, because he's the embodiment of that type of thing for me. He's just just extremely objective. He doesn't get weighed down by like emotional considerations or financial considerations or any of those types of things. For him, it's just he comes in and he calls it like he sees it, he sums it up, and that's it, and drops the mic and walks out, basically. That's kind of the way he is, or the way he has it, I guess I should say. So anyways, I'm super excited that I got to talk to him today, and I can't wait for you guys now to see it tomorrow.
I'm excited.
Yeah. And then, thinking and then looking at what's going on with Laura. She's going to be talking to John Farrak on Tuesday. So that's going to be another thing for this little community to kind of get around, and everybody's going to get excited about, to be able to see John Farrak on Laura's video and that sort of thing. And oh, by the way, everybody, finally, it's set with Fresh Start Mondays. I will be having a chat with Fresh Start on Monday.
Oh, nice.
Awesome. That's great.
Finally got in touch with him. It was funny. He was hitting me up on Messenger just as I was getting off the plane from Salt Lake City. I hear my phone beeping, and I go down there, and I'm like, oh, hey, wow. I'm like, there he is.
There's the NPR voice, that guy. I love it.
Oh yeah,
I love it.
He's doing pretty well for himself. He's getting quite a following there, and I notice he's kind of upping his production values a little bit there. Seems to be working out well for him because he's getting a lot of views. So I applaud him because hey, he's creating awareness for this case, and can't wait to talk to him. And I know he's calling me right now. He's calling me the what do you call me? He called me the black belt of MAM YouTubers.
Agreed.
That was his words. I thought that was funny. My friend Paul was quick to point that out to me. Mr. Capaldi, the Matt Scotsman, was quick to point out. He's like, he said you're the black belt of MAM YouTubers, and I was just laughing.
Hey guys, I got my computer to work finally.
Oh,
So that's
good.
Cool.
so all I need is it's the mouse that's not working. So I just need to get a mouse.
Wow. Okay. There
So
you
that's
go.
awesome. That's good. At least it'll be easier for me to do kind of this stuff like when I'm at home.
Oh, so you've been doing all your research on your phone so far?
Yeah, and
Oh,
my Kindle.
that would be so. Oh, your Kindle. Yeah, that would be frustrating to me because God, I hate looking at documents on my phone. It just
Yeah.
because you always got to blow it up to see like any area really kind of, and then you got to keep moving it around, and I hate that.
Yeah, it's been horrible. So like figured it out. It's working. It's just the mouse pad.
Right on. I'm not, and I was serious the other night when I said or last night on Lauren's channel. I said I'm looking over at Costco at the big what is it? It's a 24-inch wide screen, right? And so it looks like this TV that's just way too wide, but it's like, but I know what happens because I've worked in some places where I saw what people do with those. They take it and they turn it on its side and they turn it into a document reader. That's exactly what I'm going to do with it. So can't wait to get that. That's going to be awesome.
I have like 2 screens, and that works.
Yeah, I like having multiple screens as well. It's nice.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that's when you could tell when I suggested that to Laura last night. She was like, "Oh my god, oh,
oh my god, crazy."
That's how I felt when you were like talking about turning it, because I was like, yes, that would be so great for those damn documents that are just a little bit too long to get in a screenshot and still be big enough to read when you open it. So yes, that is a great idea.
So I'm on my phone, so I apologize because like I'm probably all over the place, but yeah,
I was hoping we could let you guys take over the conversation for a minute. If we could find a topic where you guys could take over the conversation for a minute, because I literally had to go from editing to this, and I need to go to the bathroom and possibly grab a little snack. So is there something you guys think you could continue a conversation about for just about maybe 5 minutes?
Let's talk about the burn barrels.
The burn barrels? Joseph's back. Hey, Joseph. And you want to talk about?
I can't see like the notes. I don't know why on my phone it's just not letting me. So I can't see any of the notes like I did. Yes, I was able to yesterday.
I think your notes were brilliant. I gotta get back to reading those, by the way. But I think those notes were brilliant from what I started. Looking at it the way you're kind of going through it, and also because Queso's mostly kind of chronological, it kind of goes almost like through like a series of events of what was happening. And so I like that aspect of it, and putting certain pieces of information, in place the way you did, showing the numbers of certain people. I like what you were doing there. It was a very logical approach, very, orderly to get things kind of more organized. So I really thought that was brilliant.
Yeah, I'm gonna I was telling him yesterday, I'm gonna brush it up a lot. I'm gonna make the page numbers in bold. The links, I'm gonna put like a note before the link so that you know what it is.
Right.
So I'll fix it a little bit, but yeah, just so that it's easier for everybody to maneuver to. Because somebody asked me a question, I was like, I don't know where it is either. It's a long document too. I mean, it is. So I mean, it just needs to be more user friendly, I guess.
Yeah. Well, it will. Yeah, I'm sure if I trust your instincts on it. But I just say from what I was looking at, I thought it has the beginning of brilliance, at least, I guess. We'll let you work on your your art of perfection on it, but
I'm not feeling trust me.
Right on. I'll trust you. How you doing there, Joseph? Your mic's off, by the way.
Hi, Joseph. Oh, we can't hear him.
I think maybe your mic's broken, buddy. I'm really gonna have to go get a new wireless mouse because this thing is not working right.
maybe.
Yeah, your mic's not working, buddy. He's saying okay, but we still can't hear him. So now he's gonna go figure out another way. Okay. All right, let's see what's going on up here.
Allie, Melody wants to know how you.
Yeah, I will go into my bladder in a second. Let me.
Oh.
Sorry, what did you say?
Stacy can't join. Unfortunately, that's a bummer.
My thing is.
Melody wants to know what you think, how you think Ryan got his hands on the day planner.
I'm sorry. Oh, go ahead.
I typed her a response because I thought we were going to talk about the burn barrels. So I typed the response in chat.
No problem.
It's really I can see the chat, but oh well.
Weird. What is that?
So the burn barrels. Let's talk about the burn barrels.
All right.
Gosh, the burn barrels. So they took the burn barrels, I don't know which day, I think the 7th or the 6th. They cleared burn barrel 4. They brought it back to the Avery property on the 7th, which is the day before they found the cremains.
Evening of the 7th, yes.
The evening, yeah. And Kratz was like, no, bring it back to storage. And that didn't happen. I don't know why. It stood there. They actually picked up another burn barrel. And then all of the burn barrels wound up at
they picked up. Oh, I think you're talking about the burn barrel with the cell phone and stuff in it.
Yeah, like
right.
You call it cell phone barrel? How did you know there was a cell phone in there? Like, okay, you looked in there and it was just like sitting on top. It had to have been.
Right.
But they were like, there was all this stuff in there that I could see and a cell phone. And you're like, there's no way. Sorry. I don't think so. I don't think so.
Right on.
Millbilly just comes up with these random things. Like now he's saying there's 6 burn barrels. Like where did that even come from? I haven't heard that. There's
if you count, there's the 4, which included the Dassey burn barrel. Then there's 5, which is the cell phone barrel. There was a barrel actually over at Redon's burn camp or deer camp that the investigation and the officers acted pretty weird about one point because they kept Josh himself away from it for a night and had everything over there taped off. And I think I heard that when Josh Redon came back, he noticed that the burn barrels were gone or something like that. So there was one over there so that could be 6. I mean, and there were burn barrels all around the Avery property. I mean,
yeah, I see what you mean, Millbilly. He's talking about the 6th one is the Redon one.
I figured that was what he was talking about.
Yeah. I mean, there were bones there. I think there was more bones found on Redon, like actual her bones found in the Redon property, right?
I'm sorry?
I don't think there were. From what I understand, there was 3 burn piles, and they were all in the Manitowoc quarry, the Manitowoc County quarry.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was my understanding. Sorry.
Quarry.
Hi, Joseph.
They found.
I'm doing well. Microphone check.
There you go. Yes, I can hear you now.
Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
You gotta unmute. You're muted.
I know. I'm muting it intentionally.
Oh, okay. There you go. All right, fine.
It's just that it has to work when I turn it back on.
All right. So anything to say about the burn barrels, Joseph? Any ideas? Any thoughts?
Just that my burn barrel problem is the one that's addressed in the Wrecking Crew book, is that why is there any bones at all in the Dassey burn barrel?
Right.
If her entire body was burned in the fire pit,
right,
why a burn barrel? Period.
Right. I used to say the same thing.
Well, guilters will say that he put them in there to frame his sister, or
he's trying to hide them. That's supposedly what Eisenberg said. She said they were definitely moved, but they weren't moved to Stephen Avery's burn pit. They were moved away. Like, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Okay, but
let's go with that.
But then leave the vast majority of them still in the fire pit. So 10% of the bones that you have into a barrel, and leave 90% of the bones that you have in your fire pit, because you're trying to hide them. I just
legit.
All it takes to dismantle all of this is limited scientific knowledge, deductive thinking skills, and logic.
Right.
And most of us are paired with at least a reasonable amount of at least two of those.
What's funny to me is that they were like, "Oh my gosh, I know what bones look like because blah blah blah. I hunt and blah." But then they found something that looked like a bone, and it was insulation or some shit like that. You're like,
I thought it was a foot.
Yeah, I was like, what? You thought that was
there's actually an account that Eisenberg, the bone expert for the prosecution, there's actually an account out there where she actually identified what were, I think, chicken bones as bones of a fetus or of a infant.
Mm-hmm.
And she miscalculated that or whatever, identified that. And so she's had some pretty embarrassing mistakes in her life, and so to put a lot of stock in what she says is maybe not so much a good idea.
Hey, Eric Cozy, I just have to tell you, I sent you an email about this, but he did a King Kratz thing, and it had me cracking up at work so bad that people were looking at me like I was crazy. So you got to do it again for me. I got to see it one more time.
What, you mean the part where I make fun of Kratz when he's trying to deflect the voicemail question?
Yes. Yes, please.
Well, if the defense is trying to suggest that Teresa was alive on 11/1, it's basically like that.
Sorry, that was just, I was cracking up at work and people were like, "Oh my God, she's crazy."
Dude, he's totally just like, he did not want to answer that question. I mean, he was just you can see him, he's filling his Pampers right there. It's like, oh my Lord.
Well, I'll come in and I'll impersonate Judge Willis for you. I fail to see the relevance of this discussion to this case.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's good. Do it again.
I fail to see the relevance of this discussion to this case.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gee,
what you talking about, Willis?
That's right.
Going back to the burn barrels, my biggest problem with them is that the heat generated in a burn barrel would not be enough to reduce the bones down to ash. And also the fact that they found tissue on one of the bones. It doesn't make sense. The fire was able to bring the bones down to ash, but there's still tissue on one.
It was charred tissue. It was pretty badly degraded. Yeah, but I agree. I mean, you would think it would have, burned up.
Wasn't that bone that had the tissue on it in the quarry, though?
Quarry, I think.
Yeah.
No, the shin bone was in Stephen's fire pit. The quarry bones didn't get really taken seriously because King Kratz says they don't matter. The fact of the matter is that Eisenberg or Leslie Eisenberg, whatever, the bone witness or the bone expert for the prosecution, said that those bones that were found in the Manitowoc County gravel pit had the same degree of calcination that the bones in Stephen Avery's burn pit had. And they had the added factor of still being the two bones were like a hip bone and a femur or something like that, to where they were still articulated together and still kind of held together by the charred, basically almost dust tissues, but they were, you know, still kind of held together mechanically by the charred tissues, because they hadn't really been moved, you know, since they burned like fully and became, you know, charred. They hadn't been moved. Obviously they got picked up at some point. Most of the bones got picked up and that got left there, and so it still had the mechanical connection. That's what it suggests to me anyway.
If those bones weren't human in the quarry, then they probably should not have given them back to the haul box. That pisses me off so bad. That's so awful. I'm still upset about that, actually.
Yeah.
But Amber, didn't Zellner's fire expert, I think, the guy who's burned more bodies than anybody in the world, didn't he say that it could be burned in a burn barrel or something like a burn barrel? Something where it's semi-enclosed.
That's what her expert is saying. Yeah. He's saying it's possible.
Yeah.
It would need to have been, yeah, I mean, a burn barrel definitely could be possible, but a burn pit, not at all.
Right.
An open fire shouldn't be able to, so.
Yeah. We all saw Johnny Jack's experiment. There's just no way. There's no way.
I don't think
I was just reposting that recently too.
That her body would have fit to where I don't know. I'm just not buying it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of issues with the burn pit and the burn barrels. So I tend to disclude that information. Like, I tend to just, like, if I was there and you know, trying to judge him, I'd be like, well, that's BS. I can't. I can't.
I'm amazed. I don't understand how the jury could have bought that version of Eisenberg's statement. Yeah, I agree that the bones were moved, but they were moved away. But then leaving most of them behind, that makes absolutely no sense.
Nope.
Like, I'm gonna burn them
an animal might possibly carry a bone out of a burn barrel, maybe, but never, ever, ever is an animal go and carrying it into a burn barrel. That isn't happening.
Right.
Like, and I'm gonna put it into a burn barrel. Like, I don't know. Like, that just doesn't make sense to me.
How they bought that makes no sense.
Nothing about this makes sense. That's a problem.
Yeah. Just like I was telling Falcon yesterday, he's talking about how 50% of it falls. Dude, 50% of what the prosecution threw at the wall falls.
Yes. All of it. No, well, I mean.
Well, we were just speaking in 50%, but you get my point.
Yeah. I mean, I would say like 90% of
the
falls.
The prosecution's narrative is a mess.
You're just like, wait, what? I mean, he starts out saying Avery's trial, it's one person and one person alone did this.
Right.
And what?
So yeah. And why's Dassey going down? By the way, who did that? Here's the better question. By the way, who is it that Dassey helped mutilate a corpse? Because nobody else was convicted of mutilating a corpse. So who was it he was helping?
Right.
That's the next question.
You're just like, this is stupid. Like even my son is like, yeah, how'd that bullet get there? And he's 7. I'm like, I'm like asking the question out loud, and he's like, yeah, how does that happen? And I'm like, I don't know. That's weird. It is magic. Like, yeah, magic bullet.
Not naturally. Just like that swipe by the ignition. Not naturally.
Yeah.
Falcon just added that the tires would have been fuel for the fire to get the fire hot enough. Here's my problem with that, and I'm sorry I was going back onto topic if you don't mind. My problem with that is that there would have had to have been a lot of tires. Like, it would have been constant, and the tires there would have been residue from the tires, and a lot of it. So Falcon, I don't think tires would have been enough fuel to burn a body. That's just my opinion. I don't know the science behind it. I just don't think it would have been enough.
Not 2 tires, at least.
Let's look beyond science real quick, and let's just look at logic. Burning a body's gonna smell.
Yep.
I don't know. That's all I need to say.
Yeah, right. Hey, look, you know a body's gonna smell. You know why? You know why a body's gonna smell? Everybody go out to your local store tomorrow, buy yourself a nice T-bone, and for an experiment. But go home and put it on your barbecue and just start burning it. Just start burning it and see how long it takes before your neighbors are all knocking at your door, looking at you with murderous intent because they think that you're doing something naughty.
Yeah. I mean, I don't need to talk about the tires. And I'm not a scientist, and I'm not going to talk about the tires. I'm talking about logic. Logic tells me it's gonna effing smell.
Yeah.
That's all you need to know.
Friend of mine, Michael Bowie, he actually did what I just suggested. I think he said he did it with a couple of pork ribs. Put it on the barbecue and just started, I think he had a Weber, and just started like burning it. And he said that within about an hour and a half, he had about 4 neighbors at his door asking him what he was doing and like trying to look into his backyard and like getting a little huffy with him because the smell was so bad. They were all like knocking at his door. And he said I said, I can never do that again, but it was interesting to do it once.
And tires smell too, because they're going to have that rubber smell. So the fact that everybody's like, yeah, there's a bonfire, but there's no rubber smell. There's no smell of a body. Burnt hair. How many ladies here have like burnt their hair with?
Oh, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Burnt hair. Yeah. I've smelled burning hair. Yeah.
All right. So yeah.
Can anybody? Sorry.
That's all I got to say about that. Falcon.
All right, I'm going to step away to go pee real quick, folks. I think everybody here is in competent hands with the current people in here. Hopefully, Joseph will speak up here. He's been pretty quiet for the last 15 minutes or so. Oh, maybe it was only 5 minutes, but anyway. How's it going, Joseph? All right, I got to step away and go to the bathroom real quick. Sorry, folks.
No problem.
Can anybody link the video, Johnny Jack's video, where he's burning the llama bones for Falcon?
I can probably find that and screen share it when I get back. I can take care of it.
I'm doing my best to speak when spoken to.
That's not necessary.
All right. So are there any other questions about bones?
Well, here's another thing. Can you guys hear me fine? Because everybody.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I can hear you.
That was better.
Okay, good. So, she had a belly button piercing, and that's never been recovered. And I guess the argument could be that it's with the 60% of the body that never was recovered. But I don't know. I just feel like that piercing should have it should have been found.
It was part of her torso, and her vertebrae were never found.
Okay.
So her torso, you said, was never found. Her torso, it was just like her. Okay.
Her vertebrae were never found, so figuring that would be from the section of one's body that is with your vertebrae, in other words, your torso, then that would have been when they speak of the 60% or 30% or how much of her bones were found, it's not bones by weight, it's bones by proportion of the body.
Right.
It's like 70%. It's like if we skip the burning part, there were only portions of 30% of her body found. So, and even those were decomposed by incineration. So it's like they found one arm and two legs and nothing else, and the skull,
and
the rest of
right. So okay, so
Weird.
let's break this down because I'm having a hard time with this. All right, so if her whole body was burned and 60% of the body was not found, recovered, whatever, that means that they were, if the theory is that, or if, well, we know the theory is that it was done at the Avery property, that means somebody took 60% of the body, the bones, and took them elsewhere, which does not make sense logically. If she was burned somewhere else, then that means that then they took the 40% and moved them onto the property, which I guess could have happened. I don't know. I'm just having a hard time, like, kind of figuring out where this murder took, where the burning of the body took place, and how everything happened.
She was dismembered before she was burned, and many of the dismembered parts are completely missing.
Okay, so then that was my other thing. I was assuming that there had to have been a dismemberment of some sort, cutting her in half, whatever.
I think that's what Kathleen Zellner said, was that there was like indications of her bones being cut.
Yep.
So there was print marks on them. So I don't know. I haven't seen the bones, so I'm not a scientist.
The, again, entire sections of her body are missing, not just that by weight, 60% of her bones are missing. It's not as if the bones were burned wholesale, meaning the entire body, and then they randomly scooped out 60 or 70% of the bones that would be left. It's that 60 to 70% of portions of her body are entirely missing. It's not that there's half of an arm, it's that arm's missing. It's not that there's half of a leg, the entire leg is missing. It's and her torso has never been found. There's not torso bones, there's no rib bones, there's no vertebrae. That entire chunk of her body was burned or disposed of somewhere else.
Adrian, Stacy just said that Eisenberg was the one that documented the cut marks on the bone. Eisenberg.
She did. Yeah.
I can't 100% say that, but I think I saw something where there was, cut marks. And I don't think it was
I'm just telling you that that's what Stacy said. So then if you want to find it in queso, that's where you would look.
Yes, and I think that is true because Zellner has never gotten her hands on the bones, so she would not. And it was Eisenberg that did that. Yeah. So yeah, I agree. Probably. I'd have to look it up 100%, but yes, it's probably yes. That's probably true.
Hello, everybody. So now I will find Johnny's video. If I can get on there. There we go. Hold on a second. You guys are still talking about burning the bones, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Right. Okay. Good. There's people there. Wow. All
Sorry,
right.
I'm reading chat to see if there's any.
Okay. So, and please do that. Pay attention to what they're saying in the chat, please. I'm going to be looking for this. I'm going to have to look pretty intensely here for a second.
So Patrick asks, were the bones tested for
Hi,
DNA?
Jason.
Hi.
You got hi, Jason.
What's up? Hey, I had a question real quick about the bones being burned in the bone barrel.
Okay.
Ask your question.
So somebody said earlier that the open fire wasn't going to get hot enough to actually burn the bones.
In 4 hours.
Certainly not in a short amount of time. Certainly not.
Right.
Okay, so
and that's what we're going to show in this video right now. You're going to see what my friend Johnny did to a llama that had gotten stuck below the water. Well, got stuck near the water line of the lake on his property, and when it rained, and then suddenly when the lake's water level came up, the poor llama was stuck and got drowned. So he had to get rid of the llama's carcass, essentially, and he ended up using it to do a burn experiment to see what would happen to bones. And he put it through 2 fires. There's 2 separate videos we're going to see here in a second as soon as I find it. And you'll see that the bones really didn't degrade very much. And you'll see the size of this fire that he makes. It's not just a little fire.
Yeah, the size of the fire is like the size of Stephen Avery's trailer. It's huge.
Yes.
It's ridiculous.
Very large fire.
So
and he's stoking it with blowers, like getting like just air blowers and getting in there and just shooting it into the fire, burning it as hot as possible for hours, maintaining the burn and sitting with it and trying to make it hotter and stuff. So yeah, he really helps it along. You'll see it here in a second as soon as I find.
And he put them in all different kinds of conditions, like some of them in metal containers and some wrapped in foil.
Right. Some just open out
just
and
open.
Nothing. And yeah. Let's see, here there is. Should have. Okay, I think this is the first one here. So I think how this is going to work. I'll have to mute my microphone and let this play. Okay. Bear with us here, folks. A little experiment. Get the ad. Okay, pause. All right, so now I'll go back to here.
Okay. Change in menu.
Jason, what was your question? Or what was your statement?
So it goes along that line. So this is from John Anderson, medical consultant, 70 years, and still saying blah, blah, blah. Disposing of a body in a fire depends on many factors and quite spectacular if the deceased was very obese. However, human bones are not so much destroyed by a fire as chemically broken down. Some 2 hours at 1,000 degrees Celsius. The only recognizable parts are the bones, which are then brittle or in a crumbly condition. They are put in a machine similar to a large mixer, which may or may not contain metal balls to assist. Me and Adrian were talking about this the other day, and I was questioning whether an open fire could actually get hot enough. So I went back and I cross-referenced it when you guys started talking about it. An open fire, on average, actually can get anywhere up to, was it 12 to 1,500 degrees Celsius. So for a certain amount of time, yes, it would make the bones brittle as they were, but then wouldn't that actually?
Yeah, but you said 1,200 degrees, right?
1,200 degrees Celsius.
And when they cremate bodies, they have to maintain, I believe it's like 3,400 degrees for at least 10 hours. And even then, there's still bone chunks left.
Yeah.
I mean,
put in the grinder.
Let's just look at it logically, though. It's not. It's gonna smell.
Oh yeah,
that too.
Horrible.
Yeah, that too.
Can we just go there?
Here, let's all see if this is going to work.
I'm not a scientist.
So let me mute my microphone. I'm going to mute my microphone and play this video. We're going to see if the audio comes through without being a mess.
It's looking a little pixelated. That looks better.
This is my friend Johnny Jack Smith, by the way, everybody.
Did you see he said he's coming back soon? Oh, you probably can't respond because you get your mic muted.
He got in touch with me. He got in touch with me on this October 17th and 18th. He was the one asking me to go live.
Awesome. Yeah, I miss his videos. They were really good.
Yeah, but I want to get to...
This is the first fire, right? Where he's just... Yeah. I think that's the biggest thing. He puts it through 2 big fires. The second one's bigger, I think, isn't it? And
this is where the llama drowned. It got stuck, and during a rainstorm, the lake came up and drowned the llama. So what he's showing you here is the area where that happened.
You know what, Falcon? I think he says how many. He mostly used garbage, I think, and trees and stuff like that. But I think there were also tires in there for sure. Probably more than there were in Steven's burn pit.
Yeah, because I think the max he said was like 5, right? The max anybody said was like 5 tires.
I think I've only heard like 2 were in the actual burn pit, but I don't know. I could be wrong, but possibly.
I don't hear any audio. Is that
You don't?
No, I don't.
How about you, Allie?
No, I don't hear anything.
You don't hear it?
No audio.
No audio. Yeah.
Figured you guys would have said something long before then.
Sorry.
Sorry, my bad.
I can hear it. So let me see here.
I don't remember this video as much as the second one. So I know he's talking.
Well, this is just the one where he talks about what happened in the first burn. He tells you that it was 6 hours. He's collecting the bones because they kind of got scattered after the burn. So he's collecting them up. he's just kind of explaining what happened, and that leads into the second fire, which we get to see everything that he does to manipulate it. So let me just move to that one, and we'll show the fire real quick because I figured you guys could hear it. Just gotta make it.
Are you able to link that so Falcon
yeah.
can like watch them both later? Because they're really interesting, Falcon. I would definitely suggest checking those out.
Where's the chat?
I wish Falcon would get on here and talk to us.
I don't know. Yeah, get on here, Falcon.
Come on, Falcon.
All right, let's see here. Back to
Falcon, I can tell you that standing right there looking at it, it's actually a lot closer. The burn pit's actually a lot closer to the back side of the garage than it looks like. Sorry.
Hold on, let me.
All right, so here you go. He even has little text in there for you guys to read while he does it. But the bones are in there in that pile. He's zooming in on where they are in the middle of it. He's, that's where these bones are, and you're going to see what he does and how he maintains this fire and how he continues to make it hotter with a blower, and so he speeds it up, so it's not like you're going to have to watch the entire fire.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
And then I can now put this for Falcon. So this is where he put all the bones. Some of them are in foil. Some of them are in like metal grate like type things, and so just in different types of situations where it'll be like the ones inside the metal will be like cooked in an oven kind of, and so it's anyway, so that's the bag. They're all together there. He ends up going to find them afterward.
Look at the freaking size of this garbage that he's.
Yeah, it's a huge pile.
That's pretty big, actually.
It's a huge pile. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a huge pile.
It's massive. And he told me that you could not get anywhere close to this fire. It was so hot. They had to stand so far back away. So that's what Joseph or Robert was talking about, that it would have been too close to the propane tank and definitely too close to the backside of the garage.
Yeah,
Falcon,
that's ridiculous.
That's crazy.
Falcon, I'm going to be giving you a link here in just a second for the first one, and then I'll give you a link to the second one that we're watching now.
It looks like those flames are probably about as tall as the garage, like Scott claimed they were. So that would have to be a fire like that big to make flames that big. If you can imagine that, and that's not how big the burn pit was at all. It was actually very small.
That's crazy. I did increase the heat. Oh my gosh. Oh.
Yeah, he's blowing it with the leaf blower now.
Yeah, so that thing burns pretty damn hot, and it burns for several hours, and so and this is the second burn, which is Also important to note. It's not just one burn, it's 2 burns.
So he did it twice, and that's how he got it to get to that.
And then you're going to see what the state of the bones are afterward, after when he's digging them out.
Okay.
He digs them out while they're still hot, so he has a little trouble doing it. Because the thing just wouldn't cool down. He got tired of waiting.
Yeah, and I think he said he waited like 24 hours or something.
Yeah.
At least.
So that's another thing. Like, wouldn't it... whatever. The bones are a mess. It's just a mess.
Yeah. And he said they're not brittle at all. Like, they were pretty solid still.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting. The ones he said weren't in full or in the metal grates, those came out white. The ones that were like totally exposed to the fire. And the ones that were inside were actually burned like black. And that, I thought that was so backwards. It sounded so backwards.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm an old lady. I got to look real close, so I apologize.
No worries. No worries.
I still can't hear the video. What is he saying?
He's basically just opening it up. He's saying it's hot. It's mainly important that you see what the state of the bones are after that fire. I can't get the audio to come through for you guys. I don't know why.
Okay.
Let me see if I can. I do that.
He's like burning his hands. Basically, it seems like.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, it was really hot, and he was nearly burning himself. So, do you hear anything?
No.
No.
Yeah, I don't know why that is.
He loves his animals. He's got like a farm. He's got all kinds of animals.
He's got all kinds of them, yeah. This llama used to walk into the lobby of the hotel, too. He runs a little bed and breakfast.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
Is he in Wisconsin?
No, Ohio.
Ohio, okay.
Or Oklahoma. Sorry, I think.
Yeah, I think that's right.
So I was telling Allie I want to go to the rally this year, but I don't want to go by myself. I'm scared.
Maybe I can give you guys. How about if I do this?
If he'll come with me.
Can you guys hear it now?
No.
Mm-mm. Nope.
Oh wait, I hear.
Intact. I mean those seem to be more intact than the bone.
You can hear it now. It's quiet.
Yeah, a little bit. Make it a little bit louder, Karen.
Can you hear it?
Slightly. Nope. No.
Were you able to hear anything?
I was at a certain point, but very, very, very.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
Okay.
Let me see if I can. You'll have to remind me to undo this when we're done, but maybe this will work.
Gosh, it's hot. Let me see if I can go find.
Yeah.
Yes, there you go. I can hear.
Something that's interesting here.
Can you guys hear?
Is the one, that one, which was burned outside of, by itself, not in anything, is white. The ones that were burnt in the foil are black. The ones that were burnt in the steel container are black. me see if I can find some more.
So is the audio a mess? Or are you guys able to hear him now?
It's good.
Hello?
It's good. I can hear it.
I muted myself so I can hear it.
Yeah, you can hear it.
I can hear it though. Yes.
This video is very telling.
Mm-hmm.
So why are some of them black and some of them are
Is anybody
white?
there?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, the black ones are the ones that were burned inside full and inside the metal grates. And the ones that are white were burned just in the open fire.
Anybody there?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But as you can see, none of them are brittle. That's the thing. He's like, they're really solid still.
Yeah. Question.
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah.
Hey, can you not hear us?
All right, I can't hear anybody now. That's great.
Uh-oh.
Hello?
Yeah.
Hello?
Okay, there we go. Okay. Something went wrong with my audio there. That was strange. Uh-oh, somebody... All right, so that's the bone video anyways, everybody. That's Johnny did that experiment. You see that those bones really didn't degrade very much, and that was after 2 burns, and you can see that that second burn was... Anyway.
It was at least Scott's version of the exaggerated size of the fire.
Right.
So
Exactly.
if that doesn't do it.
I mean, you can see that second burn was just huge. I mean, that was a huge bonfire. You can see that he was coming up after, I think it said something like 12 or 13 hours after the burn was done, and he was still having trouble getting near it to get the bones out and using a shovel and everything. So, yeah, I think that's interesting for people to know.
What's up, Steve-O?
How's it going, JD?
Greg, that's a good question. He asked, are llama bones and human bones the same density? I don't know.
That is the immediate question that comes up. The answer to that question is, you're right to ask it, because yes, animal bones tend to be a little denser than human bones. So that is one thing to consider.
So then it would have been a closed fire, and it would have been for a lot longer and in a different spot.
The whole thing is that they claim that Stephen did this to Teresa's bones in about 4 hours.
Yeah,
Johnny burned this llama bones and stuff for at least 12 hours. Maybe probably more closer to 13 hours probably.
Yeah, he said it was still like smoldering for a long time too after the actual fire went out. It was still like, when you burn firewood and it's just really freaking hot. 2 fires that were far more intense than anything Stephen Avery made right next to that propane tank behind his garage. Stephen Avery makes a fire like that, he catches the garage on fire and possibly blows up the propane tank. So it was a pretty intense fire, but to be fair, yes, animal bones tend to be a tiny bit denser than human bones, so that's something to be taking into consideration.
Which pretty much makes the only 2 possible places Xander Road and the quarry, right?
Yeah, it's unlikely to have happened at Avery Salvage. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, with all those people there, like Adrienne said, all those people there, someone would have smelled it.
Yeah.
Logic.
Yeah, I mean, it does create a foul smell, and the only place we have that is on Xander Road. It's asserted on Avery Road, but only after Tom Fassbender and Wiegert are basically suggesting to Brendan that there would have been a bad smell, and get Brendan to say it because they suggest it to him. But other than that,
you would think for someone that couldn't stand the sight of blood like Brendan, that the smell of that would have made him puke.
Certainly.
Like,
I think Brendan would have pause if he stepped on a cockroach, much less a human. So that's anyway my personal feelings about it. He's just too gentle a soul.
Yeah.
Yes.
Falcon said less likely that they were burned elsewhere than transported there. The logistics of that render the scenario almost impossible.
I don't agree with them. I think it would have been very easy to move the bones around because they're just a mess anyway. And let's not forget, they never took pictures of the way they lie in the Avery burn pit.
Which supports what I was reading, where it would have been in a tumbling system for a while.
Yeah. Falcon is, he sees things his way. I respect that. I do. I don't ever hate on anybody just because they feel that Steven or Brendan are guilty. But I don't agree with him. I think he accepts the explanations that come out of the state of Wisconsin, and I don't. I think they're ridiculous, but he doesn't think they're ridiculous, and he's somewhat of a reasoning person. I believe he's got somewhat a sense of reason to him. He just, for whatever reason, he sees things a little bit differently than I do and than we do. But that's fine. I mean, I'm not hating on him for it.
Falcon, if you believe what the state says, what do you think about Eisenberg agreeing that the bones had been moved? And, of course, her version is that they were moved away, but you're saying that you don't believe that that would have been very likely or possible. I didn't read your comment exactly, but almost impossible. So what would be the difference in moving it to instead of from? The state says it could happen, so why not the other way?
I know you don't believe the evidence was planted, Falcon, but I just don't know how you think that. Or that you can completely deny that it's a possibility. I just think that's a little bit of a reach on your part. That's where your 50% falls off.
My microphone went out. Oh.
Go ahead.
Okay. Allie,
Mm-hmm.
I'm having trouble with anybody that thinks that the bones were moved from the fire pit. Because that would imply that the whole body was burned there, and then selectively they were able to get entire portions of her body moved from the fire pit when they're all sitting there all together.
Right.
When did they move it while she was burned?
I don't believe that. I hope you don't think that I believe that. I think that's absolutely ridiculous. I think they were obviously moved or burned somewhere else and moved to the fire pit to frame Steven. But
so why is it beneficial to this and any of the conversations that we have to discuss points that are absolutely ridiculous? I'm not going to ever apologize for calling somebody ridiculous when they're absolutely ridiculous.
I think what Eisenberg says is ridiculous. But to I guess have this conversation with Falcon where he believes what they're saying, but he doesn't believe that it's possible to do it the reverse way. That doesn't make sense to me.
Everybody in this room knows my opinion of Falcon, so when we're discussing anything that's logical, please don't mention his name. He's well spoken, but he
has an opinion we don't agree with. That's precisely why I like to have him here.
I didn't say I don't like to have him here, but
okay. Well, I just wanted to make sure you sounded a little bit kind of mad. I wanted to make sure that wasn't the case. So
Boy, I do my best to restrain, and I still sound angry.
I thought I was in trouble for a second. Like, he's like, "What's wrong with you, Allie? You think that the bones were moved away from the burn bed? Like, what are you saying, Stephen?" Like, no, I
No,
didn't.
yeah.
I don't think.
I don't believe. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. Like I said, an animal's not going to go and be dragging bones into a barrel. Maybe out, but not in. It's not. That's just not. That doesn't make any damn sense. So there's nothing that makes sense about the bones, really. But somehow to Falcon they make sense, and hey, that's fine. Yeah, I don't agree with him. I'll leave it at that. But I'll be respectful about it.
And so I'd love to hear from start to finish a theory from anybody that goes counter to our group opinion to say that where they believe it is possible that the bones that her body was burned or portions of her body were burned, and how entire segments of her body are missing from the fire pit of Stephen Avery. And then once the people who don't believe what we believe are given additional information that they might not have been aware of, then they may modify that scenario that I
possibly.
And then please, at the end of being presented with new information, please acknowledge that the conflicting opinion that you have is flawed in so many ways. Just that's once and for all. I'd like to hear that once from somebody that counters our opinion, instead of changing the subject. Just once and for all say, oh boy, I really am missing the puzzle here.
I could just go get a deer and we could burn it in 1080p.
What?
And so I could go get a deer and we could burn that in 1080p. See what it comes out looking like.
In a burn barrel, do it.
I will.
Do half in a burn barrel and see how long it takes, and half in a
open fire.
On fire, yeah.
So that's what in John Frack's book that Bobby talks about. That's what they used to use the burn barrels for. Basically, was burning deer skulls. When they would make when they would do their thing with it and cut it all up and whatever. They would generally throw the deer skulls or the heads into the burn barrels because there was really nothing to do with them, and they would just burn them up.
And they did a European mount.
So here's my issue with this whole conversation is the totality of it. Like with Brendan's issue, the totality of him. He's 16. He's you shouldn't be. The totality of the evidence is just like what?
Yeah, that's what it's funny. I'll tell you what, because it's funny when I was talking to Steve Moore, I said to him, I asked the question in a way that I left it open for him to go either way, where I was going to say, now I want to talk about, Brendan's interrogation. I go, I want to give you an opportunity, Steve, to tell us what investigators did right, if anything. And before I could even get to the next part of saying, or what they did wrong, he was already saying, they got his name right several times. They said his name was Brendan. And that was the way he started off his answer in terms of the interrogation of Brendan Dassey. So just something funny for everybody to consider. Yeah.
That's greatness.
He's like, yeah, they got his name right a few times. They called him Brendan.
I'm eating you guys, so like I don't want to put you through that, so that's why I'm on camera. But yeah, it's the totality of it is the issue. Like, okay, you're trying to make sense of one part of the issue with the bones. There's a ton of with the bones. There's a ton of problems with the bullet. There's a ton of problems with the key. Just throw that stuff out. Get rid of it.
Actually, there's something Falcon just said here that I find interesting. Falcon, you keep saying you do 30 seconds of research, or you keep saying you do 2 minutes of research. Can I just suggest to you that that's not enough? I mean,
no.
And look, I'm not trying to attack you or anything, Falcon, but please start coming out saying you've done several hours of research on something at some point. Quit saying you did 30 seconds or 2 minutes and suddenly you're the expert. I mean, that's kind of like, I don't know. It's kind of like a total wank, dude. Come on.
I think what is happening is that he's not listening to anything that I'm saying. And he is totally still talking to Joseph.
I know, but I just saw him say, I did about 2 minutes of research. What he was saying to Joseph was, I did about 30 seconds of research. Yeah, you did 30 seconds of research and found out he was looking at that stupid picture. And you're still somehow trying to deny it and apologize for it. So whatever, dude. You know, we get it. You want to believe that they're guilty. So, I mean, but try to do more than 30 seconds or 2 minutes of research. That's all I ask.
Then if you can't do 30 seconds of research and find what I've told you, I'll show you myself. I promise you, it's there.
And I addressed that, what I think about your feelings about it. I know if you went for 4 hours, you'd come up with the same result. My point is that you're saying that you're spending very little time researching things. I'm just pointing it out to you, Falcon. It's seeing you say it enough times has now caused me to comment on it. So think of it what you like, but that's where it is.
Yeah. But Falcon, I can't. You're gonna have to do better than that. We're not trying to gang up on you, though.
I'm not. I'm really not.
Definitely not. And I'm definitely not saying that he didn't do it either. I don't know. What the hell? How the hell would I know that? I wasn't there.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Was it a fair trial?
Questions,
Did
right?
Steve get a fair shake?
Like, if you look at my notes, I have a lot of question marks. Like, what is this? What is this? What? Why?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's basically what this is. Like, I'm like, what? I give up, kind of.
Yeah.
Thank you. Falcon said he would look. So he acknowledged me. Thank you, Falcon. If you can't find it, let me know. I'll help you.
Hey, Falcon. I just sent you a message in the chat. I want everybody to read it. I got that from a book. Guy sold a lot of copies of that book.
Oh, what?
You still want to say it blew you back and that you blew me out of the water and all those other comments you made?
Recent
Traced. The word traced is in that book.
It says traced. Oh my God, it does not say traced, does it really?
No, maybe Gene did trace it once before he went into the room, but that wasn't what was used, in my opinion. He definitely drew whatever was used was definitely drawn in front of Penny. So I mean, I'm not trying to say anybody's right or wrong here. I just want to try to clear out some of the more complicated issues here. But go ahead.
Well, John Farrak says it was a tracing. So does a lot of TikTok Manitowoc.
Okay.
The only person who truly knows is dead.
And he was straight out asked, "Did you trace this?" in the deposition. So it was at least, a serious thought on the attorney's minds that it was a possibility at least.
It was such a dead ringer for an old, picture.
A 2-year-old picture.
Exactly. That you couldn't help but think that. Especially seeing as if he had actually drawn something that looked like Gregory Allen and Stephen had kind of a similar hair look at the time. It might have actually gone. It would have looked like he was actually drawing what Penny was describing instead of trying to shoehorn Stephen Avery into a conviction.
Before the drawing was made, she described her assailant as having straight hair.
Right. Or well, it was kind of wavy locks, but yeah.
No, she described straight hair and
whatever she described. I know what his hair looked like, but basically they had similar looking hair at the time. But yes, go ahead.
I understand that, but she described her assailant when she was brought into the police station. She described her assailant as having straight hair.
Right.
So if she kept saying straight hair, his hair was straight.
And why tight curls?
I don't think she went into it saying, well, it was straight but with curls. What the hell is straight hair with curls?
Right. And it looks like curly hair in the drawing.
The picture has all kinds of curly, frizzy hair. And that picture influenced her decision of who to pick out in a photo lineup. Mm-hmm. And then 7 hours after she had been attacked, the picture in the lineup influenced her. The picture in the photo lineup influenced her to pick him out of an actual lineup.
The problem I had with it was he mounted him on the wall like a trophy afterwards.
Yeah, well, yeah, that he's a scumbag. That's fine, but the problem is that a man went to jail because he's a scumbag. And
yeah, but it's kind of a non-issue. We know that the mugshot didn't make sense.
I agree. The main issue is the.
Well, I think it's background material, kind of like when they were trying to collect all of Steven's porn and use it against him. I think that this is character reference to the type of thing that goes on in that area with law enforcement, personally. So I think it speaks to their character.
It definitely does speak to their character, but none of the people that were involved in the mugshot played a part in 2005.
No, I disagree. Peterson was still around.
Yeah.
And Michael Bushman also was retired, but he came out of retirement to come help with the Halbach investigation. So there's him.
Either way, it wouldn't matter. Their pensions would have been at stake. Yep. Their livelihoods would have been at stake. So I'm gonna have to disagree with that. If you're saying my pension is going,
you're misunderstanding what I'm saying. All I'm saying is we know that he was framed, or at least not framed, may not be the word I want to use, but we know that he was wrongfully convicted in that case. It's kind of a non-issue in that regard to fight over it. We know that he was wrongfully convicted. We know that the mugshot looked a lot like the sketch. Like, I don't even know why that's something that we're even debating.
I need to ask a point of clarification.
Mm-hmm. All right, hurry up. Come on.
Was his wrongful conviction accidental or intentional?
Intentional.
It was intentional. Millie B had
it has complete relevance.
Well, that is exactly why their insurance would not cover it, because it was intentional. It was not accidental.
The insurance company was going, F you guys, you screwed this up on your own. It's not our fault.
So
they were like, so Millie B made a good point. He, I don't know.
Billy Jeeves, you mean?
Yeah, the seat position of the RAV proves a short person was driving it. Maybe Pam Sturm or whatever her name or her last name was.
Mm-hmm. Burnson? Or Sturm, you mean? Sorry, Sturm.
Pam, like the
Pam
one
Sturm.
that Bradley found the car. She found it Bradley.
Right,
Pam that would make more sense. To me, that does make sense. Being that I'm 5'1", there's nobody that's going to get in my car 5'11". That's going to and not be able to adjust things.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That makes a lot of sense to me. That
Sure.
Pam was in there, another female that might have been her size.
Right.
I think that's a good point.
Yeah,
Well,
it is.
Be careful. Stephen Avery was shorter than me, so
Yeah.
that also includes him too.
But he was also wider. I mean, you got to take everything into account. Like the totality is what I'm saying. Totality is a big thing.
Yep. 5'6".
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, he was saying Stephen Avery was 5'6". Yeah, he's shorter than I am. So.
Hey JD, the people in the chat are wondering if you could like blow a little less thick clouds because they can't see you half the time.
I'm sorry, I'm finished eating so I can get back on.
I'm just playing, JD.
Shut my thing off.
There you go. I'll join you.
Hi.
Hi.
So he just blows a big fat cloud.
It's dry anyways.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. I hope you don't mind me joining the chat. I just too much pain in my shoulder to type, but I kind of missed the conversation a bit, but because it's moved on since I clicked the link. But I just had a comment about the burn barrels because I didn't think we'd covered it thoroughly enough at all. Joke. That was a joke. I did have a thought while I was just kind of making some notes on something else that one of the big sticking points seems to be that there would have been an odor that neighboring properties or whoever would have detected. Mm-hmm. Is it possible for I did a quick Google search but couldn't find anything because I didn't think I should type in burning human flesh. That might be
maybe not in Australia, I guess. Maybe it might
yeah, we don't have the FBI, but could there be a mechanism for some sort of underground facility where there could be some sort of way of covering the odor and protecting it so that it also might burn quicker at a more intensive heat and mask the smell? Could they have come up with something like that, do you think?
Anything that you put underground, if you don't have anywhere for it to vent, as soon as it burns up the oxygen, it's going to put itself out. So you have to have a way for it to escape no matter what, in my opinion. So I don't know how you could really hide the smell underground. I don't know how you could really hide the smell. And it is intense. It's really intense. It's really thick. Obviously, as it gets further away, it'll thin out. But like I said, my friend Michael Bowie did it, and he had people from all over his neighborhood tracking down the smell to his front door and asking him about it. I'm not kidding. If it got people off their couches and knocking on his door, then that's significant.
Yeah, so even some sort of small kind of release valve would still be enough, possibly over the wide geographical area.
Yeah, I suppose, but
although doesn't with all the cows and manure in Wisconsin, doesn't it smell a lot already? Would people have noticed it?
At that time of year, it'd be pretty smell.
Sorry, Jason?
Completely different smell.
Yeah, it's really not the same. It's a real unique smell, burning flesh. It's if you've ever burned anything on the barbecue where it basically burned to the point of charring, that smell, it sticks with you. It's really unmistakable. It's very unique.
Well, that's how I have my steaks. So
yeah, charred to the point where you could knock on wood with it.
Yeah.
You eat it like that? Really? Come on.
Yeah, that's well done. That's
You're eating a piece of charcoal. So you eat a piece of charcoal?
Almost.
Okay, well, anyway, to each their own. That's something I've never heard of before, but
have you ever smelled a dead body?
Have I ever smelled? No, I've never actually seen a dead.
Yeah, I have.
Okay, and that smells very unique, right? Very unique. You can't deny that it's very unique.
No, well, not a burnt dead body.
Well, actually, there was a raccoon that got killed over here near here, and it took 4 days for the city to pick it up. That was getting pretty rank.
I'm just saying, like a regular dead body is very unique.
No, I mean I've seen my I have handled a dead body and it had no odor, but it was this was a person who was quite recently deceased.
Right. Give it a couple days, maybe even in the sun, and you're going to be noticing some smells.
Yeah,
but not right away, though. Not right away.
Yeah,
it takes time for things to break down and for those gases to build up in the body, and then once enough pressure is built up, they start to find a way out.
And they release stuff. It's.
I know. I have a digestion. I'm quite familiar with what happens to the digestive system.
Yeah.
After death. Yeah.
It does not smell a dead body. It smells. It's not like it smells. It does smell bad, but it's a unique smell. Like you can, if you smelled it once, you've smelled it. Like you can tell. It's a distinct smell.
It just seems as sticking points. I'm just trying to brainstorm ways around. It obviously happened. It obviously had to happen somewhere, and short of a crematorium, we've got to kind of solve the problem of why didn't people report it? I mean, were they that apathetic in the surrounding area that they were like, it's just another bad smell coming from the Avery area, general area, even if it's like the quarry next door, whatever.
There are reports, though, about smelling bad, I think.
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
There was 2 reports about like the smell. I think there was 2 reports about it smelling bad. So there was reports. I mean, was there?
Are you talking about the Xander Road smell?
Yes.
That was not on the 31st. That was on the 1st.
That was on the 1st, actually. So there was actually like the other report. I don't know what date that was actually. I don't know. Yeah, I'd have to look at my notes, but.
So what you end up is you have 2 stories of a foul-smelling fire, but on separate days. That really just creates more confusion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Yeah, I my opinion is that, especially because I know somebody that actually burned a piece of meat on his grill and described what his neighbors, the looks on their faces when they came up inquiring about what the hell he was doing, and the look of concern that he expressed to me that he saw on their faces. I know it's not something you're likely to forget.
No, that's weird. I think in Australia we tend to burn our meat quite regularly, so maybe we just view it a bit differently. Because, yeah, having meat well done on the barbie is pretty common. Yeah,
we like things rare in America.
Yeah,
Most of the rare.
Not me.
Yeah, notice that. Okay. Weird.
Nope.
We want to make sure our steaks aren't still mooing.
Yeah, I understand. I actually like my meat a little more well done, but I'm not trying to chew on a piece of charcoal. I do like it to be moist and tender, and I can, so.
Just missing out.
Oh boy! All right.
Thank you.
So if we have anything else to talk about here, then let's go ahead and move into that. But Otherwise, I'm thinking about I might want to go ahead and get to work on uploading the premiere for tomorrow, and just carrying this on in the chat, the text chat. Unless you guys want to talk about something real quick, anything you want to talk about, of course, because I love you guys. Whatever you want to talk about.
We love you too.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So, all right. So yeah, it sounds like everybody is maybe ready to take this to chat, and we don't need to, keep going live on video if, we're slowing down a little.
Eric Cozy, that we're now the Brady Bunch.
The Brady Bunch.
Yeah,
I did see that. I did see the joking about that earlier, a little bit. But I actually liked it better when we were the meddling kids from Scooby Doo.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I do. I think that's perfect. I think that's brilliant. In fact, I'd like us to be called the meddling kids instead of truthers.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm still eating, so forgive me. This is like the first time I'm eating today, and it's like, what, 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock here?
Yeah.
That's not good.
I know.
I'm glad you got your computer. That's really good.
I know. So it's just the mouse. I need a mouse. That's all. I probably have one here, actually.
Somewhere.
Probably somewhere in my garage.
We all do. Go look in your garage. Go look in the computer box, or the odd and end box. There's usually two in there.
I'm not looking in my garage. You don't want to see my garage. Yeah, no. I'm gonna forego that.
So, what do you guys think you would want to hear Mr. Steve Moore talk about when I have him come back for a live session? What are you guys thinking, as an investigator, you would want to hear him weigh in on in either Stephen or Brendan's case?
The confession.
You'll get quite a bit of that tomorrow.
I want to see who his number one suspects are. Number one, number two, maybe. What does he think happened? What's his theory? Does he have a theory yet at all? Like even a rough theory?
With Stephen's case, he's very keen to point out that he has not made a decision, that he's still on the fence about Stephen, but he's aware of the fishiness of Ryan Hillegas. And when I brought up Tom Pierce and then him saying that there was somebody harassing Teresa, he seemed to be aware of that. So he's aware of a great many things. I think what he really needs to catch up on is the latest stuff from Zellner.
Yeah, I'd love to hear his take on the deleted voicemail messages on Teresa's phone, and whether he thinks that's significant. And I guess that brings us sort of around to the day planner, and again, whether that's significant or it just happened.
Right. I think it's a question that will be better when he's started to look at what the new stuff coming out, because I know he's aware of certain aspects of that, but I think how it ties into with all the new stuff coming out, he knows he still needs to catch up on a little bit. But yeah, that would be a good thing to ask him about.
And there's so much. I think someone made the point yesterday. There are so many facts or pieces of information in this case, and some of them may just be pieces of information. It's how do we decipher what might be important and probative and what's just an interesting fact that really has no relevance. And using critical thinking and logical thought processes, is there a way of kind of going, well, what's just a possible red herring that can take us down, a pathway that's just going to make us crazy? and what's really important to focus on and focus our energies and collective, minds on, or is potentially at this point everything still worth looking at? Do you know? Or can we kind of go, no, that's obviously not important?
I would say that we all make decisions like that for ourselves, and I've come to the opinion that oftentimes no two people see things the same, even among supporters, at least when it comes to certain aspects or topics. So I don't know. It's hard to say. If you try to say this is ridiculous, there's going to be some group who's going to say you're a jerk. We think that that's the case, and so why are you diminishing us? And it always, no matter what, I don't know. All I can say is I can't really be certain of anything because the investigation is so bad. So I can't really be certain of much of anything. Who's
Erica,
this?
You're buffering real bad.
I'm buffering bad?
Yeah, the feed you got on YouTube is buffering. It's been buffering for like 45 seconds.
Okay.
It is.
Well, I see it. No, I see the spinning wheel.
It's okay at my end.
On YouTube though, or on Google Hangouts?
Oh, sorry, Google Hangout.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, pardon.
So the YouTube feed is not doing well here. Let me look at.
Hello.
Hey, Jason.
What's up, man?
Not too much. Came on to ask a question because one of the guys on there had asked it, and it was a really good point, and I didn't know the answer to, so I came on.
All right.
The question that Patrick Whitney asked was, as far as Teresa's clothes, did they have any like the rivets from her jeans or any other metal objects?
They collected some of the rivets from her Daisy Fuentes jeans. Okay.
That was asked a couple of times. I didn't know. I don't remember seeing that. So.
Right. Yeah. They did find some rivets, but not. From what I understand, they did not find all of them. They did not find. I think it was somewhere around half, if I remember correctly.
That's fair enough. You could assume some of the fire got hot enough to melt the brass.
Yeah, maybe. Or they got left in the original burn location. All right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and end this, and we can continue talking in chat in Hangouts chat for anybody. But this YouTube's not coming back, and I don't know why. So I'm gonna put a link in the live chat for everybody to join the Hangout, so that they can talk in the text chat part of Hangouts if they like. Nope, that's the wrong one.
That's why it tasted like garbage.
That's what?
Nah, I was just talking to myself.
Yeah, it's okay if you talk to yourself. It's okay if you answer yourself.
It's when
you go, huh? That you got a problem.
That's why. You're the only one.
So funny.
He got some bone material in his vape.
Yeah, check it out. It got burnt to crap.
Uh-oh.
Ew.
That's great.
Oh my god, those coals are burnt.
Dude, what is that?
It's the juice I'm using.
Juice.
That's what he means for his vape. It has a they call it juice that flavors it. And
Oh,
juice.
okay.
Like that. My chat's frozen, so I can't see.
Yeah.
Falcon, did you see? I linked you something. Hopefully that works. I wasn't sure how much longer we'd have here, so if you can see that, start reading there to talk about the bones being moved.
Now it's back on.
It's weird.
I don't know. It's weird.
It's still kind of buffering a little bit. Like
yeah.
I'm still like kind of.
Yeah. So I think we should probably just end it. That way, it gives me a chance to start uploading the premiere for tomorrow and all that stuff, and we can continue to talk like we have been in the Hangout chat portion. We can talk into the wee hours of the morning if you guys want, and talk about whatever you guys want. So. It's so awesome that between YouTube and Hangouts and everything that we have this really great community of all of us that can get together and talk about the case together. I think it's spectacular.
Can I just, because I can't really type much at the moment, just one other thing, if we could ask the FBI man, Thorne.
Sorry, Steve Moore?
Steve Moore, sorry. If he thinks that there's still any possibility of discovering enough evidence that could release the guys, given there's so much time has passed. I'd love to get his perspective on that.
I think in terms of Stephen, I think, number one, I think that the fact that Greg McCrary signed on with Zellner and gave an affidavit, it's something that is not insignificant to him. He respects Greg McCrary. So the fact that fact alone, even though he hasn't really done much looking into the new stuff yet, that fact alone is something that impressed him. So
hey guys, let's get to yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I think it's that impressed him. So he may in fact be looking at any new evidence that comes out, and obviously her investigation's ongoing, so there may be things. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and stop it right now, and we'll all move to the other chat. See you guys.
Thank you. Bye.
If you everybody out there, if you haven't already, please hit subscribe, and we'll see ya.